For centuries, it's been this symbol of faith, power, and, let's be honest, profound mystery. It's a place that's walled off from the world, but at the same time, it's right at the very center of it. So today, we're going to peel back some of those layers on one of the most enigmatic places on Earth, the Vatican.
I mean, this is the question, right? It has fueled countless books, movies, you name it. But what's the real story? What actually goes on inside those ancient walls? Well, that's what we're here to figure out.
And just to get started, think about this number for a second. Fewer than 1,000 people officially live in Vatican City. That is smaller than most high schools. This isn't just a city, it's one of the most exclusive, closed-off communities in the entire world, which of course just adds to the mystique. Okay, so let's go on a little tour. We're going beyond the magnificent St. Peter's Basilica, past the public squares. We're going to step right past the Swiss Guard and see what really makes the Vatican tick.
Okay, so to really get a handle on the Vatican's so-called secrets, you first have to understand this key thing. It's basically wearing three hats at once. It's the spiritual center for over 1 billion people, it's a tiny independent country with its own laws, and it's a complex global financial player. It's this triple identity that creates so much of the complexity and the curiosity.
So our first stop, it's a legendary one. It's a place that has sparked people's imaginations for generations, the Pope's so-called secret library. But right off the bat, here's our first big myth-busting moment. The famous secret archive was never really secret in the way we think of it today. The original Latin archivum secretum actually translates more closely to the private archive. It was the Pope's personal collection of records, not some hidden vault of conspiracies. In fact, just a few years ago, Pope Francis officially renamed it the Vatican Apostolic Archive, just to clear up this exact confusion.
Now, private does not mean small. The sheer scale of this place is it's staggering. We're talking 85 kilometers of shelving. To put that in perspective, picture driving from Washington, D.C. all the way to Baltimore, and then turning around and driving all the way back. That is how much history is stored in there.
So, what's actually on all those shelves? Oh, just the documents that literally shaped our world. We're talking about the actual trial records of Galileo Galilei. A heartbreaking final letter from Mary Queen of Scots written just before her execution, and King Henry VIII's personal plea for an annulment. That, when the Pope denied it, led to the creation of the entire Church of England. It's all there.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The archive isn't just Catholic history, it's human history. It's the raw data of Western civilization for over 1,000 years. All right, let's move from ancient paper to modern money. We're turning to another source of really intense speculation, the Vatican Bank. So here's the crucial thing to understand. The Vatican Bank, its official name is the Institute for the Works of Religion, or IOR, it's not like your local bank. You can't just walk in and open a checking account. It really only serves Catholic clergy, employees, and religious orders around the world. And its stated goal isn't profit for shareholders. It's managing funds for religious missions. And because it's part of a sovereign state, it has historically operated outside of typical banking laws. Now, as you can imagine, that unique status has led to some serious trouble. The bank has had a pretty murky past, especially back in the 80s, when it got caught up in some major financial scandals. But it's also really important to note that in the last decade or so, both Pope Benedict and Pope Francis have pushed for massive reforms to bring the bank in line with international transparency standards.
Okay, let's shift gears. We're moving away from the high-stakes world of finance and history and into the kind of quirky, surprising reality of the Vatican as an actual country.
Okay, get ready for this one. The Vatican has, by a massive margin, the highest per capita crime rate in the world. Sounds pretty terrifying, doesn't it? But it's a perfect example of how statistics can be super misleading. See, the per capita rate is calculated by dividing the number of crimes by that tiny population of about 800 residents. But the crimes themselves are almost all petty stuff, like pickpocketing, and they're committed by tourists against other tourists from the 20 million people who visit each year. So you take a few dozen thefts and divide it by 800 people, you get a ridiculously high number. It's a statistical quirk, not a crime wave.
And the fun facts just keep coming. The Vatican owns and operates a high-tech research telescope in Arizona, of all places. It has its own railway system, which is only a few hundred meters long. It issues its own currency, passports, license plates. And yes, it's true, if you use an ATM inside the Vatican walls, you can choose Latin as your language. How amazing is that?
So after looking at the archives, the bank, and the state itself, it kind of brings us back to that central question. Why does the Vatican remain such a place of mystery?
I mean, really, what is it? Is there a lost gospel hidden somewhere? Some kind of hidden treasure? What is the one big secret that everyone's always looking for?
Well, here's the real takeaway. The biggest secret is that there probably isn't one big secret. The secret is the Vatican itself. It's what happens when a 2,000-year-old institution accumulates documents, wealth, traditions, and power. It's not one secret. It's millions and millions of stories and transactions and decisions all stacked on top of each other for 2 millennia. The mystery is just the sheer overwhelming weight of all that history, all contained in one tiny, tiny place.
So that leaves us with one final thought. If they give you a security pass, one day, inside that 85-kilometer-long archive, what would you look for? Would it be a letter from a king, a map from an explorer, a personal note from an artist like Michelangelo? Your answer probably says a lot about what part of that incredible history matters the most to you.